Good morning. This is problem 17 from exercises 21.2. In this question, we're asked to find the equation of the line with equal intercepts and passing through the point 5,2. So you can see I've quickly begun a sketch here. So here is the point 5,2. I think the only thing we're missing is information about the slope for this question. And this comes from an understanding of what it means for the line to have equal intercepts. This actually means that the intercept, the x-intercept is the same as the y-intercept. So they would have the same value. For example, maybe the x-intercept is 1 and the y-intercept is also 1. But think about that. So the line would cross through the y-axis here and it would cross through the x-axis here. But you can see that if that were the case, that straight line wouldn't pass through this point. If both were 2, the straight line would be here, and so on. If both were 3, and you come to find that the only way for the x-intercept to equal the y-intercept and for the line to pass through the point 5,2, this will only happen in this case. So in this case, we have the point 5,2. We have the x-intercept is the point 7,0, and the y-intercept is the point 0,7. Okay, so this is what's meant when the question says that the straight line has equal intercepts. Okay, so this is the line now drawn correctly, and you can then go on to find the equation of the line quite simply. In fact, you'll find that the slope of this line is equal to -1. So then you end up using a slope of -1. And then as for your x1, y1 point, you can use any point you like of these three. Perhaps you would be inclined to use the given point like that. Okay, so the slope can be obtained in a few different ways. One way would be to just take a look at the picture now and note that this would be the rise, and this rise is equal to -7. So the change in y, or the rise, is -7. The straight line, of course, is falling as you move to the right. And the run is here. The run is +7. So rise divided by run gives you -1. Okay, or you could actually calculate the slope using any of the 2 points and doing, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, so then after you have the information about the slope and the point, you can just do point slope form, which would look like this if I use this point. Okay, but as I said, you can use this point instead or this point instead, and you'd still end up with the same equation. There'd be a 1 under here now, and you could cross multiply. So 1 times y minus 2 is -1 times x minus 5. Y minus 2 is -x plus 5. Or x plus y minus 7 is equal to 0. So that would be a general form for the equation of the line passing through the point 5,2 with equal intercepts, just like that. All right, one last thing maybe I can say, even if you didn't have graph paper, you should have been able to determine the slope is -1 for this equation, and I'll show you how you can do that. You can go into it saying if the intercepts are equal, this means that the y-intercept would be the point 0, b, right? The y-intercept, if we didn't know that its value was 7, we could just use b for the y-intercept. And then what would the x-intercept be? Well, it would be b, 0. And this would show equal intercepts. Okay, so in other words, the y-intercept equals the x-intercept, and then you could use these 2 points to calculate the slope. So y2 minus y1 would be 0 minus b over x2 minus x1, b minus 0. And then what do we get? We get negative b divided by b, or negative 1. Okay, so that's a little bit tricky, but it's a way to determine that the slope of the line is negative 1, even without drawing the graph. Okay, so I hope that helps, and let me know if you have any other questions.